Well, hi. Um, Today we're going to make a video, not necessarily for the general public. This is to help my friends. I have a few friends who live out in the country. They're thinking about starting a business, and we're going to help them learn some of what they need to know. And I have other friends who just have big places, and if they had these skills, they could save money. And in fact, all of this is about saving money. But anyway, so it's about starting your business or helping your friends. And some people would like to be their own entrepreneur. And we'll talk about markets and everything, but I'd like to tell you why. You see, we're part of a revolution. The uh, Please don't be so close. We can edit that out. You see, there's a revolution going on in agriculture, and it's essential. It's necessary because we are depleting the planet of its aliveness from under the ground, of course in the atmosphere too, but under the ground by using the old-fashioned type of, well, it's not old-fashioned, it's still the majority of the way of plowing the ground. We're killing the microorganisms. So in order to create a better agricultural system, you need a better system of everything. In an old time they had horse-drawn things, but it's a bicycle age. So what we've really worked at with myself and friends for more than 2 years is how to develop bicycle scale farm infrastructure. Now, can you start a business doing this? I hope so. Can you make your own farm more efficient? Well, we know so. And can you do it at the lowest possible price? That's the thing that we're going to show you real quickly, because working with, we'll go to it in a minute. Anyway, here's the thing. This video is not about marketing. I don't really have much skill in it. I belong to the Grange, and they'll put a free ad that I have something for sale. And the people in the hardware store, I live more in the country, they'll let me park my rig with a trailer on it and have an item or two that I sell. And when they're busy, that's a good way to sell. But I don't really have Craigslist down, and certainly not internet savvy. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the startup costs. And the startup costs are really minimal. The very tools that you use for carpentry around your house and sawzall, drills, impact drivers, these are common tools now and can be bought and used very inexpensively. We'll see, you'll be working with them in just a minute. And you have to buy one pipe bender at least, and the pipe benders, I don't know, they cost less than 50 bucks. They're cheap. So what do we got here? Tools we mentioned. Now here's the nice thing. Today, when I show you all these skills, I'm not going to show anybody how to measure, because you already know that. And there's a whole lot I'm assuming that you know, because all my friends are carpenters and welders. In fact, I want to mention welding. You're going to see a system of fabrication today that has no welding and it's using galvanized steel. But I have a friend who knows how to use a gas, oxygen acetylene, and coat hangers to bring this stuff together. And after we get all this published, we'll go get him to show us that. It's even a more economical. The only problem with his system is you have to scrape it off and paint after you've done it. Whereas everything we're going to show you to do today, except the plywood, you don't have to paint it. Now we clear coat it. We clear coat it with spar varnish, the best, because it makes it better. Okay, are there anything, okay, easy to understand. We're going to go through some design things here, so it is quite easy to understand. Now, so we're working with farm infrastructure, garden construction, and the thing that makes this system of building unique and very valuable to you, it increases your skill level vastly, is because we work with connectors. Now, the modern type of building, the olden days, everything was joined together, you see. But now we know that things are, here's this and here's that, and there's a connector in between. Now, Simpson strong ties, I didn't put the strong tie because I ran out of board. They specialize in this, and they make a lot of big engineered stuff. And that can, in knowing their product is all you need. You can start your whole business of making wagons and greenhouses and mobile sinks and mobile cooking stations and big dehydrators to dehydrate your food, all just using Simpson. and 1/2-inch pipe that we're going to show. And we're also going to show how to build. Oh, by the way, talking about what we're going to show, we're right now in a carport, but it's really a high tunnel. And if you will look later, we've developed a system for raising the wall, but if the camera will just pan up and show it, you see this is a really nice high tunnel, and we made the thing at ridiculously low cost. I mean, just ridiculous, and all the parts are reusable. So connectors are what we're going to learn about today, and materials. Now, this Simpson, and they make these engineered stuff and all. Well, you're your own engineer. It's your skill level that we're talking about today. And so in the ancient times, they use animal parts and plant fibers. And I actually would love to make a thing on how bamboo and sinew and all that, and brass. Oh, so here, but today what we're going to show you is what makes your business work. If you start these skills, we're going to run over there and do it in a minute. If you learn your handcrafted how to use sheet metal and plywood and copper and brass to connect different units together, whether it be wood to metal or metal to, today we're emphasizing metal to metal on how to build. We're going to show you how to build a fence. We had the foundation for a greenhouse and the structure for a greenhouse. We're all going to do that. Let's see. Is there anything else here we need to do? Let's talk about galvanized steel for 1 second. You see, this galvanized steel tubing is available everywhere, and that's the secret. I wanted to work with bamboo, and I enjoy working with wood, but bamboo, I just can't find enough of it. And wood, when you start getting good quality, strong wood, it's real expensive. So the galvanized steel tubing, I'm just grab a piece of it here. This is 3/4 inch, and right here on this wagon is 1/2 inch, and this is a Simpson strong tie, and this is just a little horseshoe clamp. And this particular wagon is an example of how well you can build things. Luke, our fabricator this summer, he built this. Was one of his first ones, and it's nothing more than a cube with these Simpson strong ties. We're going to go out there and show you those in 1 second. And there it is. And that competes with things on the market that are $300. And Luke was the one that invented the system of putting the plywood inside the metal and connecting it with the strong tie. I give myself credit. I was there when he invented it. Oh, here's what it is. Let's take a look real quickly. You see this? I know I'm getting off my schedule, but these panels, we're going to show design, but once we learned how to build these panels, and Luke was a big part of it, you buy the plywood already cut. And then you have to just cut off one end, which is really simple. And you don't have to square it, you don't have to triangulate it. And because it's in the inside, if it gets abrasion out in the field, it doesn't. It's strong. It's really strong. Now, we do a lot more than the garden carts and the field wagons. The only thing is, they're just the most beautiful things we make. And we got to give credit a little bit to Luke on that. Now, here's some of the other products that you can make for your business. Especially, you know, I don't know how to do a business in the city. I don't know what people would want. But in the country where people have gardens and animals, this is what they need. They need potting benches. They need fencing. And here's the thing about fencing. Cyclone fencing and that chain link fencing, it's really wonderful. But it's really expensive per foot. We can build fencing. I'm going to show you a piece over here in a minute at remarkably low cost, and you can reuse it. Okay, mobile sinks. I didn't know how to spell sinks. Put a start. There's one over there. You see, when you're food processing out in the kitchen, out in the garden, if you can put, now one of the things we learned is when you build these for people, they like a triple sink because that's what the Department of Agriculture requires. And I don't know a lot about that, but we're going to build new ones with triple sinks, or actually 2 used sinks, so it's 4. Okay, chicken pens. It's amazing. Chicken pens that you can make and reuse and everything using a cube design, which I'm going to explain a little bit to you. Well, listen, here's the deal. So you see this cube right here? It could be 10 by 10. It could be 8 by 8. And then from the cube, you can design anything you want. A chicken pen, you can mobile, you can make You can make wagons, carts, anything by building, first of all, a cube. And a cube takes 4 of these around the corner, and then 4 of these gussets around the other, and then you have a cube. Now, let's get back to what you can build in your business. Greenhouses, we're going to show you how to use this pipe bender and to make the least expensive truss that you can imagine. In fact, I think we can look up here and see an example of it. You see, in the middle of this high tunnel, or this carport, is a 3/4 inch piece bent at 60-degree angle, and then here is a half inch 10-foot piece with another 60-degree angle. And that configuration across is the essence for how you can build any high tunnel at the lowest cost. And then we're going to show you some ways to extend it. We're going to go outside and see how to build these, but you see how it's one size, 1/2 inch here, 3/4, and 1/2, so we can raise these things up. Because here's I'm going to come back over here. Look, here's the thing. I've been studying these greenhouses, and the taller they are, the easier it is for them to have the right temperature. There's a zone. And here's another thing about building greenhouses. We not only can build greenhouses out of this material, we can build sheds, outbuildings, and you can actually put ferro cement on them. It's not part of what we're teaching today. We're teaching just the basics of farm infrastructure. Now, where are we here? Okay, we just talked about high tunnels, pet enclosures, and that includes all kinds of mobile chicken tractors. And we have the best. We use a lot of recycled wheels and food carts. Now, I volunteered at the local farmers market, and I gave away samples of potatoes and other things, beets and sweet yams people liked. And it was a big attraction at the farmers market when I was able to do it. And there's special laws. If you are a farmer and you want to increase your sales, you just make a little mobile cart that you give away samples. And boy, howdy, it's a wonderful thing because what you have a lot of is what you give away. Anyway, we can make all kinds of wagons. Let's see what else. Here's the deal. The thing that will make you the most money probably are utility carts and garden carts. And one of the reasons they are a winning item for you to make in your small business is there's so many varieties. Look at this. We call them utility carts. That has wheels underneath it, and that has wheels underneath it. And in the other place, we're going to show you our potting shed that moves around. And let me just tell you I made the potting shed for myself. Just learning how to make a potting shed that will move to where you're working and have 2 layers. It's right. We're going to, at the fabrication bench, we'll show it to you. It's really something. Well, anyway, I think anybody can learn how to build these wagons. Let's go take a look at our favorite wagon right now, and then we'll start talking how to build these things. You see, this wagon, what makes it unique is it's all 2 foot. This is 2 foot, this is 2 foot, that's 2 foot. The bottom piece is 4 feet long of a panel, just like we saw on the table there. The side is a 3'6" panel. There's 2 of those. And at the end is a panel that's 2'6". And Luke put them all together with Simpson strong ties. And so this is just a bunch of panels put together. And then under the bottom, I hate to make my work so simple that there's hard stuff. We show you the hard stuff later. He bolted the hand truck on here, put in 3 bars which catch the load. And I want to say something about the materials that we chose, because we live in Oregon and it's easy for us to get the best. But this is marine grade plywood. It's 1/2 inch galvanized steel. And we bought the hand truck at a local big box. It cost $69. And what else? That's about it. We're not going to talk about measuring or painting today, but it's a pain in the butt to paint, I think. But I painted all these. I sanded them, primed them, and painted them, and then I clear coat them, because that's the best way. Well, actually, you put the paint in, and then you clear coat the whole wagon, and it's just a nice thing to do. I think, I don't know which ones are clear coated yet. Okay, let's go learn how to cut metal. Oh, and bend it. Okay, oh, here you go. Remember that I told you my favorite utility wagon? Well, this is a potting bench. I built this early, and it's really built kind of ad hoc. It's not part of our real good design system, but this thing is the cat's meow. Let me show you something. It's real lightweight, it's strong, and what I do, I'm going to go over here and show you. What I do is I work on potting, and I put them down here and water them. And here's something else. We're going to show you how to cut the sheet metal in just 1 second. And you see that you can use plywood or sheet metal in all these designs. And up here on the top, it's a funky thing I bought at the hardware store, and I just bungeed them together and put them on here. But I like it all because this gets wet. It gets real dirty, to say the least. It's made to get dirty. Okay, let's see. I think the first thing is, let's learn just the fundamentals of cutting this pipe and putting in a fence, okay? Now here's the deal. We have 2 blades that we use here. One is just made for the little EMT. All I know is just a little short blade, and in order to cut the metal, it's real simple. After you get your mark on there, you got to get up tight. And that's all it is. Now, I want to say something about sawing metal, because there's a lot of issues. Over here, I have a worm drive that needs a new blade, and a blade like this, and you can cut metal real good. But you have to wear mask for dust, you have to wear earplugs, and to be really safe, you need a face shield, because that thing can explode. So I don't recommend it using either the angle grinder or although they're very effective, unless you have to cut steel, heavy-duty steel, for some design or something, then that cuts it. And then you have to use your safety. But for the stuff that we're talking about building here to start your business, you just need you don't need a lot of safety stuff. You don't need a lot of this. Now here's another way to cut metal, and that's a regular circular saw with a diamond blade. Now here's the problem with that, is it burns a hole in it and you're breathing fumes. You technically have to have a respirator or be in a tunnel of air, and so I don't use that. Now here's one thing, for cutting some types of this corrugated metal, I don't use it much, but I've been told this will work. We have a way of cutting sheet metal here. But let's see, so the safety stuff that you need is, look, here's some bungee cord. And you know why bungee cord is safe is when you're working with stuff, you tie it together. Then you work with it, especially greenhouses. Now we're going to show you that in a minute. We need a safety fire extinguisher wherever you work. And we wear earplugs. There they are. We wear them all the time because I just get tired of, and I wanted to talk about one other issue while we're here, is that fortunately for me, I live across the street from a factory that makes a lot of noise, because when we're assembling, especially when Luke was building wagons, it just sounds like an industrial park. It's the impact driver. So if you lived in a place where you couldn't make a lot of noise, you would have to substitute a strong drill to drive your screws down without using the impact driver. I give you that as a clue, because if I got any complaints, that's what I would do, is just change. The impact driver is a great tool. Okay, here's the other thing about safety. You need to wear gloves all the time, and Luke, Hands of Lightning, wears these kind, and I greatly appreciate his ability to do things quickly. And you have to, because for a million reasons. You get bruises. It's a metal shop. Okay, here's what let's do. Let's show you how to make the foundation of a greenhouse, or the least expensive fence you've ever seen. Here we are. Now I already put this one together. You see, in order to get your foundation down, you drill a hole in the earth. I'm going to set this down, and then whatever you stick inside of it is secure. Now over here, I wanted to show you where I put a 1-inch pipe, a 3/4 inch pipe, and then a 1/2 inch pipe. So let's see what let's make it happen. Okay, this is how you can build a high tunnel, and here's the blessing. You can build your high tunnel on the ground and do all your rafter work and putting in your electrical and everything else while it's on the ground, and then go around and raise this. And it, because I tell you something, working on a ladder, if you can avoid it, in other words, I can build a greenhouse in 4 hours on the ground that's all well made, and then I raise it up. And but if I had to get on the ladder, I don't know, it's just hard. Okay, so we know how. Oh, here's the other thing about fencing. You see, you drill that hole in the ground, and it's easy to get them straight up and down, and you drop this in, and you can pour concrete in this. You can pour a foam or concrete, and that becomes really strong. And one of the things we've talked of, I always say this to Simpson Strong Tie, we need a better system so that you can scale up. You see, a lot of this, I'm going to show you how to hammer these stuff and make your own hardware, but if you scale up to 1 inch like this, then it's too hard. You need machines. Okay, one thing I'll show you here is this is an extender where you go from 1/2 to 3/4 to 1/2, and you can connect pipe together to make long pieces. I think we've covered that. Let's, I tell you what, I'm going to show you how to bend pipe because we were talking about greenhouses, and then we'll make the connectors last. Oh, here it is. There's many things you can do bending pipe, but if you know to build cut a 60-degree, that's it. You can build a good truss out of that, or a good greenhouse. And there's a mark right there at the halfway mark. And I line that up with this little arrow right there. And I push this over. Let me read it. Okay. This is a 45. Right there. Guaranteed. Now, I like to use 60s, 260s. Let's change it to 60. You see, the thing is that you don't need to buy very many tools, but this one tool right here sure does give you a lot of power. Okay, now that's at a 45, and I can just move it over here. To a 60, and then if I have one of these that's a 3/4, and then it marries up with a 1/2 inch, just like this, and then you can extend the thing. And you saw one. I don't need to show you another one. You saw the high tunnel or the carport. So that's it. That's how you build one of those things. Now, okay, let's finish up this thing by showing you how to cut metal and make your own gussets. You know, there's two things we left out in this. One is how to drill a hole, and the other is how to measure. You know how to measure. The only thing I got to tell you is when you're drilling holes, I don't know if we have the tools out, 1/8 inch goes into the pipe. A number 8 screw goes into the 1 inch, and you need a 3/6 inch pass-through hole to make it work. And all of Simpson's come with a too small a hole for the number 8, So you have to drill these out. And here's something I do think is important to show you. And I'm going to show you how to make a round the corner thing with Simpson. It's so easy. This is it. You open your vise up. Now I rounded this off with the angle grinder so it's a little smooth, but you get the center. Then and anyway, that's it. That's not a perfect job. Now many times, if it's where people are, you can take your file. This is a wood rest, but you can file off these corners and make it a little safer. Now, in order to save money and to really be powerful in your business, where you can really do everything, you can build just about anything. You need to work with sheet metal, and it's real cheap. Let me show you. You see, this is 18 gauge, and you can buy a 4x8 sheet of this in Eugene, Oregon, for 60 bucks if you pick it up, and if you have some other, you have to have a bigger order. They don't sell small. So it's real simple. You buy this machine right here, Genesis. It's a nibbler thing, and I paid less than 60 bucks for it. And watch what it does. You see, it just cut that off that easy. Then you have to have your tin snips available to finish off that cut. And I'm religious about picking those things up because they're not fun. And then whatever piece you made, you can come along here and just nip off the corners. And then take your file. Here it is. You see, and you can just round those off just a little bit. Now, the other thing that you can do a whole bunch of is you can use the grinder. By the way, the only thing I'm telling you about marking this stuff is when you do, these little pins work perfect on metal. Now, so here's this. The reason you need a little bench thing like that is after you make a cut, which I just cut this metal, you saw me, this is just awful. It's jagged. So you turn this on, and I'm going to do a short version. And you're safe. And it's essential to do that. If you don't have a big grinder, one file will get you through. Okay, so we learned how to cut the metal to make your own gussets. Now here's what happens. Once you get a piece of metal like this, or this is my standard size, 7 by, well, the reason this is 6 is because I was cutting 7s and this one was short. So I'll even show you this. If you get a piece like that that's square, watch this. And there you got a gusset. And of course, like I said, you're going to have to round off the corners, and then you'll have to drill the holes in the appropriate place, and then you bring your metal over. See, I make a line right down the middle. Oh, I drill them first. This is and there it is. You hit the line and hit the line. And I'm going to save you the pounding. I think this is a Simpson that's around the corner. Now you notice Simpson has the strong edges here, and with this you can make it, it's a little more decorative. And the rest of the story is, once you learn how to work with this metal, sheet metal, you can put a, like the cart over here. Let me show it to you. This cart has, that's on it, you know? So it's good stuff. The reason we used a lot of plywood is because, quite frankly, I didn't have the money to go to Eugene and buy a bunch of the stuff, but it's strong and good. We have plenty for making hinges. The only other thing that I think you need to know to start your business is kind of like how to bolt them. And here it is. That's a cameraman can probably shoot this. You know, if you use a number 10 with 24 teeth times 1 inch, machine screw like this, you can bolt pretty much everything that you don't have to screw. And some places you can put in some screws to hold it and then put a bolt afterwards. And this size is strong enough. If you go up to a 1/4 inch, it's hard to drill holes and stuff. So this is, we think number 10 is a good size. Now, here's the, whenever you're holding things down one to another, these kind of clamps are real handy. And here's a little tip. Sometimes, because of what you're doing, you want to use one size or another size. So some of these are for irrigation and some of them for EMT, and so I just got a bunch of them. And I find the different sizes work better for different things. I'm going to briefly mention that there's a lot of other ways to connect. Simpson makes this guy here. You can connect. Oh, I forgot to show you one thing, the design feature. What? I got ahead of myself. Where'd they go? Okay, come on over here. Oh, well, it's okay. Luke and I are not perfect people. So here's a cube. I mean, it's a panel. And you can put inside here plywood. You can put inside here fencing material. You can put inside here hog wire if you want to make something, you know, a cage. And the panels end up looking like this. Oh, here's something really cool. Luke set this clamping up. You see, if you work on a table, you want to be efficient at making this kind of stuff. You work off a piece of plywood that's square, and you clamp to the table, kind of like Luke's done here. And the other thing is, this, of course, is the hardest one to put in, so sometimes we have two ways of doing it. One is to clamp it. One is we make a little dot, we drill a hole, we have our impact driver here, and we drive in. And both ways work, but there you can see what Luke's done. By putting it together this way, he saves a lot of work. And well, I showed you how to build a greenhouse. You see, now here's a foundation where I used a straight edge, a board. But if you go out in the field and you have that drill, the auger bit, you can just line it up and you can build anything. I'm trying to think about things that you need to know to start your business. Here's another thing that's kind of cool. One of my friends wants to put awnings on the side of his house like this, and that's a piece of cake to make. You know, I mean, I'm talking about a thing that goes over the window so that the rain doesn't hit it and the sun is off of it. You can, anything that you can draw up, you can make. And we use two systems. I want to say this final thing here. We started out working with cubes, and this was how we were designing everything into cubes, like Tinker Toys, or you know, like a erector set. Then along comes Luke, and we find a panel system. Now, here's one of the reasons the panel system is so good. We didn't get to it yet, but we were going to build a freezer, you know, like a chest that holds frozen food. And it is so simple to do. After you build a cube like this one here, you cut your bottom piece first of the insulation, and you lay it in. You have to cut around the corner on the two little edges you have to trim. Then you take your other two pieces on the end and you put them in that go as tight all the way to here, and then two pieces in the middle slide in, and you have a perfect freezer box. And the thing that's nice about it is it's strong. You know, the insulated material that's here would break, but the box itself, you can put plywood over it if you have a lot of plywood. I wish you were here for questions, but the whole purpose of this was to show you as much as I could about how you can just get set up. I have a couple of friends who are gonna start, but here, let me give you some emphasis. One thing is here's the deal. This is what will get you into business. You see, this panel is nothing. Now, here's a little trick on panels. If they're 10 foot long, they're too long. You can't handle them. So this is an 8-foot panel, and this is 4 foot, and we made it to fit this particular size of wire, you see. So we made the panel to fit the wire. We put it in with a normal system. We use Simpson. And, oh, you know what? I'm going to show you one other thing. There's a way to make a hinge so you can make trifolds. I tell you what. Here, let's take a look at this hinge. It won't be that long. Oh, one other thing I got to show you. See these wheels? This is how to save yourself a lot of money. The old bicycles are wrecked and ruined, and all you have to do is cut them at the right place and then put them inside a long tube, and then get support off of the front, off of the cube, and off of the back, and that's it. It's in a way it's simple, you know. There's a lot of bolting and a lot of thinking to make it fit, and but that's it. One clue that we did, if you can find two old bikes that are the same, you could put two fronts on one and two backs on the other, and that might say, well, where do you find two? Huffington bikes, the ones for kids, are available a lot more. So the last thing I think I'm going to show you is how to build a hinge that makes your work fancy. You see, if the cameraman will come over here, you see this? This is a 3/4. This is a 3/4, and it's got a 1/2 inch in between, and that is just an excellent hinge. Now, this hinge is gravity, the roof will be there, but here's the one on the side. Here's a little design feature. This is made for children, and so this is ground level, and the little gate closes down so the children can play with their animals on the inside. And I want to say, this is a cube, this is an extension of it, and this is you can build this. And here's, not talking a whole bunch about money today, but they charge a lot of money for these things. And I believe that if you're a fair carpenter or got a little skills, you can build these things. And let's look at the way to get the wheels underneath. I think I've already shown it, but you can get the hand truck and put it underneath anything. The advantage of this is you got them and they're available and you can buy them. Whereas the wheels, sometimes you don't have little bicycle wheels. Let's just review one part. You can make structures, you can make greenhouses, you can make fencing, and you can make high tunnels. And inexpensive. You can use all the materials over. You're using a number 8 screw, generally about 1/2 inch or to 3/4. You use a number 10 screw to through bolt, and you can make anything you want. And you know, your family will think that you're number 1. So good luck on starting a business and making your house nice and your farm. Good luck.